Serene Fusion is the result of a big collaborative effort of several ROM hackers and is one of the best Super Mario 64 ROM hacks I played in a while. I consider it a wonderful artistic and technical achievement of the medium.
So it's like Marvel Infinity Ward is the most ambitious crossover event in history. Okay, look at all these authors. Like, this is honestly insane. This is the highest rated ROM hack on romhacking.com right now, too.
So I don't know anything about this hack. I have heard repeatedly that this is either the greatest of all time or one of the greatest of all time.
So, funny story. I actually worked on this hack. Serene Fusion is a ROM hack or modification of Super Mario 64. It adds 8 levels and several side levels to the game, with many unique aesthetics and mechanics. The hack used to be the top rated Super Mario 64 hack on romhacking.com. It is now currently ranked 3rd. The hack was a collaboration project between many of Super Mario 64's top ROM hackers, with AgLab2 leading the project. And I just so happened to be one of them. So, how exactly did I get involved with something like this? Well, it all started back in August of 2022. I was in the middle of working on another Super Mario 64 collaboration called Universal Constellation, which was meant to be the biggest Super Mario 64 hack of all time. My time working on this hack was interrupted though, because my family decided to go on vacation to California. It was during this time that I received a DM from none other than AgLab2. Now, I was super excited when I got this DM because AgLab2, although not as known as other Mario 64 ROM hackers, did several major things for the Mario 64 community. He made the camera that was popularly used at the time. He made a program called Star Display, which showed all the stars in the current ROM hack you were playing. And he hosted a collaboration called Another Mario Adventure, a huge Mario 64 collaboration hack with tons of top ROM hackers working on it. When that ROM hack came out, I thought, man, it'd be so cool to work on a project like this. Having a level alongside all these other people in one big ROM hack. Well, you can probably see where this is going. The DM AgLab sent me was about a new collaboration hack. But the circumstances of this hack were a bit interesting. You see, most of this hack was already made by this point. It was built upon another collaboration project called Project 74. This was supposed to be a project that remade a bunch of levels from the popular ROM hack Super Mario 74, but in a way where they were completely unrecognizable. This project, sadly however, got cancelled. The levels that were complete were repurposed for an event called Fan Game Marathon 2022. And after this event, AgLab wanted to put these levels into the public, but with a few extra bonuses as well. That's where I come in. Me, alongside 2 other ROM hackers, got the chance to make brand new levels for this project. And these levels were going to be completely new, not based on Super Mario 74 at all. Now, here's the thing. Alongside this DM, AgLab sent me a video of the levels that were already completed for Fan Game Marathon 2022. And when looking at this footage, I realized, oh, these levels are really good. Like, really good. The aesthetics were way above anything I previously made, and it was all being made using decomp, which I had just started using with my previous hack. I had very little experience using this brand new way to make ROM hacks, and now I had to make a level that stood alongside some of the greatest levels I had ever seen, with tons of custom mechanics alongside them. But I couldn't just say no. This was a huge opportunity for me, and I was personally invited, so of course, I accepted. However, if you recall, I was in California at the time, and I did not have my computer with me. So, instead of working on the level right away, I came up with a bunch of ideas. You see, I came up with a bunch of simple ideas that AgLab could implement without having to do too much work. I didn't want to overburden him with a bunch of stuff to do. I came up with the idea for a level that had a space section in between indoor spaceship sections. The space section would have low gravity, while the indoor sections would have normal gravity, and you would go in between them using airlocks. I was so scared when I pitched the idea to AgLab. I typed it out this huge paragraph in a DM describing everything about the level, and they just responded with, "Sure, that works." And then I waited. You see, I couldn't really work on the level without having the custom code. When you make a level with low gravity, you can't really make the platforming without knowing what the gravity is gonna be like. So I waited. I made a rough template of the level that focused on seeing, hey, how do the aesthetics work? Because I was really concerned about how the level was going to look like, since all the other levels look so good. And I came up with an aesthetic that I really liked, but I didn't really do anything design-wise with the level. And then a month passed, and I started my senior year of high school, and I got very busy. Eventually, Aglab and I DM'd each other once more, about halfway through September, and Aglab asked how the level was going. And I responded, I can't really make the level because I don't have the low gravity mechanic. So, Aglab whipped up a debug feature which allowed me to change the gravity on the fly. And I could finally start working on the level as Aglab got to work on making the airlock system. Now, there was this little other thing that I should mention. There was a deadline for this collaboration. Specifically, it was the end of September. So, I had about 2 weeks to make the level, and that 2 weeks also included me confirming that the level was okay and polishing it up with Aglab. So it was more like 1.5 weeks. So I had to work on this level fast, and once again using tools that I had barely used before. Luckily I was gaining some more experience with Blender, the modeling tool, because of the other collaboration hack I was working on. So I at least had that. But decomp? Once again, I really didn't know how to code at all. And I ran into a few problems with that, specifically custom objects. Luckily, Aglab sent me a list of instructions for how to make a custom object in decomp, and it was super helpful. I don't understand why this isn't public knowledge. Like, I had never seen this listed anywhere in any Discord server or any Google Doc or anything like that, which is why I made a video about it. So let's actually start talking about the level itself. Okay, so here is the level from a top-down view. So this is the model in Blender, top-down view. And the level starts right here. Let me do it like this. So this is the start of the level. You spawn right here in this room. And you go up from this room, and there's this little branching path here, and there's 3 different directions you can go to. And that's kind of the main dividing part, where there's a start here, there are 2 stars over here, and if you go left and right, if you go up, there's 2 stars in total in the space section, and 1 up here. So that's all 6 of them. So the main split path in this level is right at the beginning, so you don't have to like run through most of it, and redo stuff if you're already done. The only exceptions are the space section here, which is just a straight line. It's not bad at all to traverse, and the section here, which I'll cover later. So let's cover this in order. If you go up, there's an airlock here. Right here, there's an airlock there and there, which divide the space sections from the interior spaceship sections. And in the space section, we have 2 stars. The first one kind of covers this whole area here. It's a platforming challenge where the player has to go up to the top here. There's all these asteroids using the low gravity. Because I wanted a star that utilized the low gravity here, because that's like the main mechanic, right? And you don't really get the opportunity, of course, to platform with it that much. So I wanted a traditional platforming star without like anything else. There's no custom objects or anything else. It is just the platforming, because that is the main focus. And this is also the first star in the list. And you get to the top and it's right here. So that is the first star. The second star is the red coin star, which is over here on this planet. And it's the Saturn-like planet. And these rings around the planet spin. So they rotate, and they're also at an angle. So it's a bit tricky, right? So some parts are elevated and some parts are below. Some parts are above, some parts are below at different parts of the rotation, which makes platforming a bit tricky here. And there's just red coins just randomly placed around above these rings. And, you know, you have to go 8 to get a star to spawn at the center here on the planet. And I wanted this to juxtapose the other stars. So both these stars are both utilizing the low gravity. They're the only stars in the level that do. So one of them is a linear challenge of very designed platforming, while this is more non-linear. You'll get to choose how you approach getting each red coin. It is not like a designated correct way of getting them. It's more so, okay, I gotta figure out what's the best way for me to tackle this at any given moment. So it's more open to how you do this challenge compared to the other one, which is very linear, very straightforward, very designed. And I wanted to do a story like this one, the red coins one, for a while. There was another ROM hack that I saw that had a similar star, but it was just a planet in the center and like a ring that goes around it and like a spiral. But you could just like ignore the ring essentially and just launch up to the center and get the star, which I didn't really like. So I wanted to make something where 1, the ring was moving, and 2, there were coins on the ring that made you actually have to go on and interact with it. So that's where that came from. I believe the third star, I might be wrong, I might get this order wrong, is up here in this room. So this room, it's very small. There is a blue coin switch, which I'll mark right here. There's the blue coin switch. And the blue coin spawn, I think, like this. So there's 5 blue coins that spawn. And they're not too hard to get. There's definitely harder blue coin switches, especially in this hack. But, you know, I wanted to have a blue coin switch in this level, and that's why I put it. But the main challenge here is right here. There are 3 spinning platforms that you have to go up. And, you know, I already had a spinning platform over here with the plants, but this is, you have to like land, make sure you land and not fall through the holes. But here, you're actually trying to actively go up through the holes. So it's a bit different, but using the exact same code essentially as this. And like I said, I wanted to keep the code simple for this level, which was initially so that Aglab could code all this, but I ended up coding everything. That wasn't the airlocks. So this is actually more so for me. It turned out I had to go through the ideas I came up with and try to figure out, okay, what can I make? And spinning platforms were very easy. Because remember, also I had very limited amount of time to make this, so I had to do whatever was easiest. And this was easy. So that's why I went with. Because, you know, first time I was doing all this, I only had a week and a half. So that's 3 of the 6 stars done. So let's go to the other one. So that's essentially this entire section dealt with. That's everything that's here. If you go up. If we go right, we have this storage room. There's all these boxes in here. It is similar to the red coins one a little bit. There's 5 secrets in this room. In Mario 64, there are these secret stars where there's like 5 hidden places you have to find. And if you find the 5 hidden places, you get a star. I marked these hidden places with coins in here. And there's multiple ways of you navigating this room. There's entire parts that you kind of ignore, and that's intentional. I want the player to be able to figure out and how to navigate this and get to each of the coins and explore it their own way. Because I think player freedom is important. but you still are probably going to interact with everything in this room because you have to get to every single coin. You just may not do it in the linear fashion that this is designed to be. There is one custom object here. There's this platform that moves back and forth in like the center of the room, and there's a switch that raises it upward when you press it, and that's it. It's based on the code of the movie platform from Lethal Lava Land, and I just added a switch that raises its Y position and lowers it, depending whether or not it is pressed. And I thought that gave it more of this like storage room vibe, although it's not the craziest mechanic in the world. It is unique though. I have not seen something like it in another hack. And I thought that would be interesting enough to add some spice to the room. Moving on to the left side, this is the bullet bill section. I believe this is the last one that I designed for this level. Bullet bills in Mario 64 are very strange in how they work. They appear in one level, Long's Fortress, and there's only one of them. And it barely does anything. It just shoots and moves slowly towards Mario. And it can be completely ignored, essentially, for that star. So I wanted to make a star that was more centered around them. You know, they are kind of commonly used in hacks, due to how underused they are in the original game. I wanted to make a star using them nonetheless. And they work a bit differently here. These are custom objects, where there's a generator that spawns them, and they go a lot faster, they're a bit smaller, and they move straight forward. They don't turn towards Mario. And I think they do less damage as well. And I made a whole section here, so you just navigate it like this. This is the way you navigate it like that. That's kind of the design there. There's an airlock right here, and there's this outside section, low gravity, with the bullet bills right in this cage. Not cage. This glass window here, so you're kind of separated from the rest of the level here. This is so you can't long jump to here and skip. And you have to wall jump upward, essentially, to get to the top to the star is right here. And people get really confused by this section. It's one of my biggest regrets of this level. Every single time I watch someone play it, people get confused on how they're supposed to traverse it. They try wall jumping the wrong way, and they don't know how to get up, and they get confused. So yeah, that's a bit of a regret. I feel like that could have been shown a bit more, like prompted on how you're supposed to wall jump. I did put coins in to try and do that, but they didn't really work super well. And then for the last star, let's see what color. I'll go with purple to showcase that. It's right here, and you can see it from the outside here. You can look over there, and you can see the star in this little lookout. And the idea with this being the final star, right, is that you're wondering, how do I get over here, right? You can see it from the outside, and you can see that this thing is attached to this left area here. So the idea is that the player realizes, oh, there must be some secret in the bullet bill area to get to this star. And the secret is pretty obvious. You have to turn around here, and there's a hole that's very noticeable. So essentially, it's just a little puzzle, right? Once you figure out the puzzle, it should be pretty easy to find the secret entrance. It's near the beginning of the area, so you don't need to play through most of it. And there's just a room here, another bullet bill room, nothing too special. And yeah, there's the airlock here that goes outside to the star, and that's it. Aglab did make some changes to this level. Mostly Aglab added a bunch of coins, which makes sense. The coins was pretty limited. You could still get 100 coins, but it was kind of hard. It's usually how I make most of my levels, but most of the levels in Serene Fusion end up having a bunch of extra coins, which just makes the 100 coins are a lot more bearable. So I was fine with that. He also moved one of the coins in this room, and Like there was one that was hidden in this like little secret area here, and that got a place with the 1-up, I believe, or just extra coins I think in the final version. And the last thing I wanted to do is I wanted to add a arrow here, a coin arrow that pointed towards the secret exit, and I ended up removing that because I already explained what the point of the story is. It's about this deductive reasoning of figuring out where the star is and figuring out, oh, I have to go over here on that side. And I explained all of that to Aglab in a DM, and he caved in and let me have that. So yeah, that's the design, the level. It's pretty simple, and I'm pretty proud of how this turned out for the limited amount of time I had on this, and also the limited amount of knowledge I had when making this. Like I said, first time I really was coding much at all in Decomp. I did a bit before, but I never made a custom object, for example. Quite like this. So yeah, and this has several of them, right? You got the spinning platforms, you have the moving platform, you have the bullet bills, you know, there's several of them. It's a bit weaker than the other stages because there is just less custom code, and the overall mechanic of just being a space level is not super unique. But I do think it holds up. It doesn't feel out of place at all compared to the rest of them. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? For the limited amount of time I had to work on this, I think that's a great accomplishment on my part. So yeah, that's the level. So to wrap this all up, Serene Fusion is a very important project to me. It means a lot to have been invited to something like this, and to be able to be a part of this big collaborative effort to make one of the best Mario 64 Romhacks of all time. I learned so many useful skills through this experience, and I legitimately wouldn't be where I'm at today without it. So I thank Aglab and everyone else who worked on the project, and I hope that people continue to enjoy it in the future. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye!